One of the Maulers grinned proudly in response, clearly confident in his creation. "We've done all the calculations, and it's completely safe. More or less." Whatever the case, you two are criminals and need to go back to prison for everything you've done. So either you go willingly, or we settle this here and now. Go back to that place with awful food? Not a chance. We have to finish this. Right after saying that, it became clear that the Maulers weren't alone. More variants appeared through one of the doors, ready to fight so the machine could finish loading. "So you're not giving us a choice." He glanced over at Goku, signaling it was time to act. Goku simply grinned, cracking his knuckles in anticipation. "Perfect! This'll be fun!" Invincible took the lead, rushing forward with impressive speed and knocking out one of the clones with a solid punch to the face. However, two more quickly intercepted him, trying to pin him down with energy weapons. Goku, for his part, waited patiently for the clones to attack. When one of them fired a plasma beam, Goku just tilted his head to dodge it effortlessly and, in a blink, appeared behind the clone, knocking it out with a punch to the face. When Invincible wrestled with two of the Maulers, who managed to land a few hits, even drawing some blood, he noticed how easily Goku handled his side of the fight. Seeing Goku's skill spurred Invincible to fight harder, and he began to overpower the Maulers he was up against. Meanwhile, Angstrom watched the battle with increasing concern. He hadn't accounted for someone as strong as Goku. If the Saiyan got too involved, Angstrom's experiment could fail before it finished. The Maulers continued to focus their attacks on Goku, only to realize that neither their weapons nor their punches could land. It was faster than any hero they had ever encountered. Frustrated, they had no choice but to keep attacking, hoping to buy enough time for the machine to finish so they could escape to another dimension without superheroes. Yet, Goku was quickly knocking out every variant until hardly any remained standing. In desperation, Mauler 1 tried to hasten the loading process of the machine. "We just need a little more time. Hang in there." He was clearly sweating. He'd underestimated the threat level. Meanwhile, Angstrom kept his eyes shut, intently absorbing data from his variants. Though Invincible had taken a few blows, he pressed on, not about to give up. He knew he couldn't match Goku's speed or technique, but he was doing his part. With a powerful punch, he sent one clone flying against a wall, taking it out of the fight. Goku, on the other hand, dodged the energy shots fired by the remaining Maulers as it were second nature. In seconds, he vanished and reappeared among them, dishing out punches and kicks that knocked them out with ease. Some tried using stronger weapons, but Goku destroyed them before they could be fired. "How much longer? We can't keep this up." "Just a little more." Panicking, Mauler 1 tried to manually tweak the machine's energy input to speed up the process. But due to the tremors from the ongoing fight, one of the knobs broke off, making Angstrom snap his eyes open in alarm. "What are you doing? Don't interfere with the process!" The machine began to hum loudly, and streaks of blue and red energy shot out from its connections. The monitors that displayed data on all the Angstrom variants started flickering wildly. One screen flashed a critical error, and suddenly the entire lab shook. "I really don't like how this looks." Goku frowned, immediately sensing the machine's instability. "This isn't good." Invincible also felt the danger and looked toward Angstrom, who was desperately trying to disconnect from the machine. "You shouldn't have touched anything. Now it's overloading the system." "Don't disconnect from the machine. That'll make it worse." By attempting to disconnect, Armstrong caused the machines to explode outright, making the entire area collapse instantly. Mauler 1 tried to flee with his clone, but an arc of electricity struck them both, knocking them unconscious. Goku didn't have time to help the criminals. He only had time to teleport and pull Invincible out of the plane. Invincible was stunned by Goku's quick reaction. He hadn't even registered the moment Goku grabbed him and got them out. With the explosion still unfolding, Goku quickly used his energy to blast away part of the area so it wouldn't spread further. Moments later, Invincible and Goku were hovering in the air, staring at the smoking ruins of the Mauler's lab. A thick cloud of dust shrouded the rubble, and flames still burned here and there, with no sign of anyone surviving. Mark put a hand to his forehead and sighed, trying to process everything that had happened so quickly. "Well, that was a bit more chaotic than I expected." "Yeah, but at least we stopped something worse from happening. I doubt that machine is good for anything now. I don't think there's much else we can do here. Might as well let Cecil handle the rest. I guess you're right. He knows this world better than I do, so he'll figure out what's best. With that, Goku and Invincible moved away from the area, seeing no one left and leaving the aftermath to Cecil's team. However, sometime later and without anyone noticing, a figure emerged from the rubble. None other than Angstrom, still alive despite being covered in wounds and dust. Yet, because of what had happened with the machine, his brain had grown noticeably larger, having absorbed a great deal of knowledge from his variants in other worlds. His eyes reflected frustration as he surveyed the wreckage, letting out a low growl of disapproval. All that knowledge, all that information. They don't understand. This wasn't just about me. It was supposed to be the start of real change. It was supposed to be the answer. Armstrong stood up slowly, thinking about what had just happened. He realized the two who had thwarted him were Goku and Invincible. Now that he had gained so much information, he'd seen the worst versions of Invincible in other worlds. But at the moment, he wanted to find out exactly who that spiky-haired man in strange clothes really was. After pondering it a bit, Armstrong steadied himself, stumbling at first, but with a determined expression on his face. The surge of knowledge from the machine had not only expanded his intellect beyond normal human limits, it had shown him infinite realities, many with corrupted or defeated versions of himself. So many possibilities, so many failures, but also solutions. I saw worlds where heroes save no one, where they cause the chaos. And that man, Goku, where does he really come from? His power goes beyond even the laws of our reality. I'll need a new strategy. If I can figure out who he is, maybe I can look for him in some dimension and see if there's a reality that contains variables like Goku. That might help me with my next move once I plan it out. Just then, one of the Maulers began to stir among the debris, barely conscious after the huge explosion. It was the original Mauler, his body terribly injured. He had lost an arm and half his body was severely damaged. Angstrom, you're still alive. Noticing him, Angstrom approached in silence, looking somewhat disappointed. Because of you, this was possible. But also because of you, it failed. Now I need to continue this some other way. At that moment, they could see authorities arriving, so it wasn't safe to remain there. Angstrom opened a portal to make his escape. Staying would only mean more trouble, and he needed to focus on his next plan. The remaining Mauler decided to follow, unwilling to go back to prison, especially not in his current condition. Meanwhile, Goku and Mark were flying above the city's rooftops, heading back to Cecil's facility to see if there was anything else they needed to handle. I still can't believe how fast you got us out. If we'd waited one more second. I've been through worse, but it was actually pretty fun fighting all those guys. Although I was expecting a bit more. Well, I'm not sure fun is the right word, but whatever. Shortly after, they landed on a rooftop where one of Cecil's surveillance stations was set up. Within minutes, a screen turned on, revealing Cecil's stern face. Good work, you two. The lab is destroyed and the threat contained. At least for now.
We're not certain all the Maulers were wiped out by the explosion. And Armstrong was definitely doing something strange. We know. We're analyzing the residual energy in the area to see whether everyone there really died. There are a lot of variants, and we need to study all of them. Honestly, that machine did more than even the Maulers realized. He then turned his gaze to Goku. And you're showing me that your presence in this world could shift the balance of power, whether for good or for bad. So I need to know for sure. Are you here to stay and help us, or are you against what we do? Goku folded his arms and looked up at the sky for a moment before answering. Well, honestly, I like this world and what you do to help others. Plus, the food here is great. The opponents so far haven't been what I expected, but I can see it's full of challenges. So, if I can help, I will. Although sooner or later, I'll need to go back home. Cecil nodded slowly, never taking his eyes off the Saiyan. Very well. We'll consider that our arrangement for now. Feel welcome on Earth, or rather, our world. Once the brief conversation ended, the transmission cut out, and the two heroes were left in silence for a moment.
So what are you gonna do now? Now, I don't know much about this place, but I figure I'll do what I always do. Train and recharge by eating. Wanna join me? Sure, why not? Though I can't promise I'll keep up with you. Don't worry, that's the fun part. Everyone improves in their own way. And that sounds perfect. Great, but I think we should look for another spot where we can train freely. You know this world better than I do. Do you know of any place?